Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Goddammit here, and for today's video, so, Smash Ultimate, right? The game itself is named one of the biggest crossovers in gaming history, if not the biggest gaming crossover. And if you look at the roster itself, my goodness, almost 90 different characters is playable in this entire single game, and especially how much content it has, with series and games being represented like Super Mario, Legend of Zelda, Tekken, Street Fighter, Fire Emblem, Pokemon, Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, Banjo-Kazooie, etc., etc. There's at least a whole lot of different games represented in here. And yes, Mortal Kombat Armageddon did technically do this thing before, would bring back every Mortal Kombat character, but for this game though, it brings back all of the characters and add in brand new ones that isn't just affiliated with Nintendo. And from my count, there's at least over 30 series represented in this entire roster, and that's just looking at the characters. Like, imagine just going through the spirits and counting every single game that is represented in Ultimate. I'm not gonna do that, but I always like the idea of giving all of the series that is represented in Ultimate their very own new character. It could be at least something that I would definitely like to see some days, but that would definitely never happen. There was an idea about this before, of giving every series their own new character, and you know what, I actually want to try that, but with a little bit of a twist instead. I'm already satisfied with the roster. That's all I gotta say. And that's really what we're gonna do in this entire video. I want to be given almost every series that is represented in Smash a new character. And keep in mind, there are a few series that I had a hard time given its own fighter. Plus, there are some series that has one game that it's impossible for me to at least, give them an actual fighter. So that's really what I'm gonna be doing in this video. And and I know this could be another long video, and so with that, let's just not waste time. Let's just give every single franchise a new character. Alright, let's start with the first ever series represented in Smash, Mario. Mario has at least over 10 different characters, if you want to count if you want to count Yoshi and Wario, since even though Yoshi and Wario has their own series, they're still part of the Mario series per se. And technically you can say it's half Donkey Kong, since Donkey Kong is technically part of the Mario universe. But anyways, Mario has at least a lot of different characters, but the best ones that I could think of is one, obviously Waluigi, and maybe Geno. Geno is a hard one to me because it depends if Square Enix really cares about this character anymore. But given how he barely has any content with him, especially him being a spirit and a Mii costume, not even a deluxe one in Ultimate, it really kind of shows that Nintendo and Square barely cares about this character. So Waluigi and Geno are characters I thought of, but I've been seeing some wanting Paper Mario and Captain Toad. Captain Toad is a bit of an issue since he can't really jump in his original game, and Paper Mario, it all depends if they want to keep representing the Mario RPG game. But given how Geno barely got any love as a playable character, and Square barely cares about it, and given how Paper Mario's series has been sort of going a little downhill with the story, and especially characters and all I can say is that Paper Mario would be a neat addition. It just depends if they really want to stay true to Paper Mario and all. And I've been seeing some pointing at Pauline. If we can have Daisy, Peach, and Rosalina as playable characters, Pauline would be a really interesting playable character. After all, they did make Wii Fit Trainer a character without her just using actual fighting in the original game. So yeah, those are like the few Mario characters I can think of whenever you see. Like, Mario is like the biggest thing that Nintendo has at the moment. And given how we might see more Mario characters in the future, I expect at least to be some that are popular, like Waluigi or Pauline. And next up is Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong currently has 3 different characters: Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, and King K. Rool. But some were surprised that we didn't get Dixie Kong. Dixie Kong was considered, or you can say was actually supposed to be a playable character in Brawl, And it was like, and I think her moveset was supposed to be with Diddy Kong, which is supposed to be like the duo play they did in Donkey Kong Country 2, but sadly they didn't because I guess it has something to do with the data and all. The files are still there, but even to this very day, Dixie Kong didn't see the light of day as a playable fighter. So maybe in the future Smash Bros. Game, if they're gonna bring back all of the 3 different characters, then definitely add Dixie Kong along with having her ponytail being used as a propeller and like a recovery and all. It's really odd that we don't really have that much Donkey Kong characters, but with King K. Rool being a huge addition, I'm definitely fine with that. But Funky Kong would be a bit interesting, unless they want to keep the whole Echo Fighter formula in the next Smash game. Then yeah, Funky Kong would definitely be an Echo Fighter to Donkey Kong, and maybe that could be the same thing for Dixie Kong. Who knows? And besides, I always thought of the idea of having Frederick, who is like the main antagonist to Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. I'm not too sure how they're supposed to work him out, but all I can say is that Donkey Kong and Dixie Kong and Funky Kong would definitely be interesting choices and very great additions to Donkey Kong. Mostly Dixie Kong, in my opinion. Next up is The Legend of Zelda. I've mentioned this in one of my few videos, but The Legend of Zelda hasn't gotten any new characters since Brawl, and if we're going to be considerate with the actual unique characters, then we haven't gotten one since Melee with Ganondorf. Like, Young Link and Toon Link are just considered semi-clones, and Young Link had the potential to have his own unique moveset with Majora's Mask, but they couldn't. And they haven't, and I'm surprised they didn't add any new characters from Smash 4 or like Smash Ultimate for the Zelda characters. So the one I can think of, as if you guys saw in my Zelda video, I stated that I wanted Zant, Midna, the 4 champions, either one of them is fine, Impa, and Skull Kid. Those are the 5 characters that I personally would like to see in Smash Brothers if they're gonna represent Zelda more. Plus, with Breath of the Wild 2 coming out next year, then maybe there could be chances of having more characters that comes from The Legend of Zelda. All I can say is that, yeah, like the Zelda franchise being represented is decently fine, but it could use a little more than just 30 songs and, having the same exact moveset for the longest time now. Next up is Metroid. Now, I don't know much about the Metroid series. All I can think of 2 characters. One, Silex, because I've been seeing some fans wanting Silex as a playable character, but I also thought of an interesting idea. The Emmy robot from Metroid Dread would definitely be an interesting playable character. Sure, it can insta-kill the character. Sure, it can insta-kill you as I did play the Metroid Dread demo a week ago and all. But I am very interested on how they're supposed to do the Emmy robot. Because, even though it insta-kills you in the game, I am wondering if the Smash team can, make a really unique moveset out of the Emmy robot. As much as I like to see Silex, because I guess I like the cool design, the Emmy robot at least had some potential to be an interesting playable character. Plus, I would definitely like to play as an Emmy robot just so I can terrify some Smash fans. I know, I sound horrible. Alright, I'm not too sure about Yoshi, because Yoshi is kind of technically, I guess you can say Yoshi is technically is a Mario character and all, but one character I can really think of that comes from the Yoshi series was Poochie, or I think that's the dog's name. I don't know why, but if they can make Duck Hunt a playable character, then Poochie would definitely be an interesting choice to represent the Yoshi series even more. Next up is Kirby. Now, just like with Zelda, Kirby hasn't gotten any new characters since Brawl. And the only character... Now, I've been seeing many wanting Bandana Walla-D, which I will say Bandana Walla-D would definitely make an interesting choice. But I also thought of other characters that isn't just Bandana Walla-D. I also thought of Magolor, Marks, Gooey, and I think the character was named Adeline and Ribbon. Yeah, those are really characters that I would least like to see that isn't just Bandana Walla-D. Don't get me wrong, I would not mind Bandana Walla-D. But I would also like to see other characters that comes from the Kirby series to make a playable appearance. Like Magolor is something that I am very intrigued in how they're supposed to do it. After all, Kirby Fighters did show the moveset for him. They just gotta have to downsize and, sort of a little nerfed on this character, and that's really about it. Next up is the Star Fox series. Now Star Fox hasn't gotten any new games in like 5 years at this point, but I do like to see a couple of new characters that comes from the series. One of them being Crystal, as I think we know how very popular Crystal is to the Smash community. But to me, I'm surprised no one wants to see Leon Pawlowski, who's one of the members of Star Wolf. Not only do we get more Star Fox representation, we would also get more Team Star Wolf representation with the addition of Leon Pawlowski. And Crystal would definitely be an interesting character since she uses a staff, and plus she would be one of the most unique characters out of all of the 3 Star Fox characters currently in Smash Bros., as Fox was the original character, while Falco and Wolf are sort of semi-clones, to say the least. Next is Pokemon, which is another very popular Nintendo series and all. Now Pokemon has at least 11 different characters, if you count the Pokemon trainers Pokemon as separate. So, they're the only choices I can think of is that given how they've made Jigglypuff and Pichu playable characters, despite them being very small, I think it's really understandable to have Eevee as a playable character. I'm not sure how they're supposed to do it, but come on, if they can make Jigglypuff and Pichu their own moveset, then so can Eevee. If not, then maybe they could possibly stay to the whole formula of having the next generation Pokemon being a part of Smash Brothers. Like Incineroar was the character to represent Generation 7, Sun and Moon, so it's no surprise to see Generation 8 to represent either like Cinderace or Rillaboom. I can basically see Inteleon since I do think we need more water type representation, but grass type representation usually get the short end of the stick. So Rillaboom would definitely be a good choice. As much as I want to see Cinderace, I do think that Grass-type Pokemons at least need some more love. If not, then we could choose another Pokemon that isn't just a starter. One of them I think of was Toxtricity from Sword and Shield, or a legendary Pokemon, Urshifu, where he can have both of his dark and water forms. And those are like the few choices I think of when it comes to Pokemon. Unless they decided to, I don't know, make Generation 9 in the near future and decide to add just that instead of just Generation 8, then that could just happen as well. All I can say is that Pokemon gets a lot of love, and I do think they need to like cut down the roster whenever there's a future Smash game. Next up is Earthbound or Mother or whatever game you want to call it. Yeah, it definitely needs a dire of new characters. The only one there are 2 characters I can think of, being Ninten, which I think would have been a perfect Echo Fighter for Ness, and the other one being Kumatora, who is one of Lucas's party members. And that's a really good thing, since if Kumatora is in as a playable fighter, then the final Smash would definitely make more sense, since fun fact, Lucas doesn't actually know PK Starstorm, but Kumatora taught him when he got into Smash Bros. So that's a really nice detail, and it would definitely be nice to see Kumatora as an actual playable character to now stay true to the PK Starstorm move. And yeah, Earthbound definitely needs a dire need, especially with Mother 3 getting ported to the Switch, as I've been hearing so many times. Next up is F-Zero. Not only is F-Zero has not gotten a new game in like over 20 years, I think Captain Falcon at least deserves a new character. The one I can think of is the main antagonist, Black Shadow. Black Shadow would definitely have an interesting moveset because I've heard the idea of where they could possibly repurpose the old moveset for Ganondorf from Smash Melee to Smash 4, since the Ganondorf we have now uses the sword technically. So that would definitely be an interesting idea of repurposing the Black Shadow moveset and mixing it up with the Ganondorf moveset, because if Captain Falcon is fast and very, I guess you can say somewhat powerful in punches, Black Shadow would definitely be more slower, but has way more powerful punches and attacks than Captain Falcon. F-Zero definitely needs more love, and especially a new game at this point. Alright, this is where we get to the case of characters that might not get a new fighter. A perfect example is Ice Climbers. Ice Climbers is really a hard character to get a new fighter because, let's be honest, it's really difficult to think of a new character when they only have one game. So, yeah, this is really the first series that I can think of a new fighter. I know some would like to joke about the polar bear, but given how Ice Climbers has been there since for the very longest time and has one game, I doubt they're even gonna get a new fighter. So that's why we're gonna skip to Fire Emblem. And I know what you're all gonna say. I know many have something against Fire Emblem. I know the Smash fans have something against Fire Emblem due to the over-representation of playable characters. And I always thought of whenever there's a new, because if they make like in the next Smash game, they just cut the roster for Fire Emblem in half, just with 4 characters, and that's about it. So the best choice I can think of is having Black Knight or the next Fire Emblem like protagonist, because that's really what they always do for every single Smash entry and all. And if not, maybe they could possibly have a character that isn't a protagonist. Maybe Edelgard, Lyn, Tiki, maybe I don't know, any character that isn't just a protagonist. And I mentioned Black Knight because not only is Black Knight a Fire Emblem character, but he's actually an antagonist. We've never gotten a Fire Emblem villain in Smash Bros. Before, and it's a shame that Black Knight was only a spirit, a Mii costume, and now an assist trophy. That's why I wanted him to get more love than usual, and especially given more of a villain character for Fire Emblem, so we can at least vary things up to the characters that isn't just protagonists. Now, for Mr. Game & Watch, they could go into 2 ways. One is, the only character that I think it's really obvious was Mrs. Game & Watch. They could either make Mrs. Game & Watch an alternate costume to Mr. Game & Watch, or they could just make her a Echo Fighter or a playable character. Those are 2 choices, and that's really all I can say about the Game & Watch series. Next up is Kid Icarus, which is a unique one since Sakurai directed Kid Icarus Uprising after the series hasn't gotten any new installment in over 15 years. So there are at least a few new unique characters that could represent Kid Icarus way more, and maybe if Sakurai could possibly make a new Kid Icarus Uprising sequel or remake, who knows. So I can think of a few characters, and since we've already gotten most of the most fan favorites, we got Medusa, Hades, let's see, Viridi, Phosphora, Pandora, and finally Magnus. Like, these are 6 characters that would definitely really, make the Kid Icarus series really more loved than usual, since after all, if Nintendo really doesn't care about that series anymore, then Sakurai has no choice but to add way more Kid Icarus characters at that point. So, but my personal pick I would definitely choose is either Phosphora or maybe Hades. Hades would really be an interesting one, since Dark Pit is an anti-hero, but Hades himself is a really big villain. I really want more villain representation in Smash Bros. After all. Next up is WarioWare. WarioWare I've been seeing many fans wanting Ashley as a playable character, but I haven't really thought of, I haven't really thought of that way, because I've been seeing wanting Ashley, but some want either Jimmy T or Mona, but I just don't know at all. WarioWare has very unique characters, but I can't really recall them fighting at all, unless they decide to make a unique moveset out of all of them. All I can say is that Wario is a bit of a 50-50 on either getting a new character from that franchise or not. Next up is Metal Gear Solid, a game that hasn't gotten anything new in so long after Kojima left Konami and all. So Metal Gear Solid can have either Raiden, not Mortal Kombat Raiden, the Raiden that has the sword, and Great Fox. Great Fox is represented as an assist trophy, but Raiden seems way more of a big choice, since after all, we've seen how extremely awesome he is in his own game. And I don't know much about the Metal Gear series, but Raiden would definitely be a unique and epic character to play as. Alright, I think it's obvious that Sonic the Hedgehog really needs a new character, ASAP, because the character Sonic has been part of the Smash series since Brawl, but hasn't gotten a new game for ever since this character's appearance. So, I can think of characters like Shadow the Hedgehog, Knuckles the Echidna, Tails, Dr. Eggman, Metal Sonic, Amy Rose. All that matters is that Sonic at least needs a new character. I don't care who it is, just give Sonic a new character, and that's all I want from that. Alright, Pikmin is a bit of an easy one. Aside from Pikmin 4 not getting any sort of announcement in so long, Pikmin would definitely have Alf. Alf was supposed to be a clone character back in Smash 4, but due to time constraints, they couldn't. But weirdly enough, despite all the time they gave for making Echo Fighters, they didn't make Alf Olimar's Echo Fighter. So that's why Alf would definitely be redeeming himself of being a playable character after being rejected for 2 games at this point. And yeah, I mean, I'm not too sure about Pikmin anymore at this point. But for Rob, yeah, Rob is impossible. Rob, like, is basically a toy, like a controller toy, and that's really all I can say about it. I mean, he doesn't even have a stage. That's really something to say about Rob. So that's why we're skipping over to Animal Crossing. Okay, it's obviously Tom Nook. If Isabelle can be a playable character in her own way, then so can Tom Nook. Alright, Megaman is a pretty simple one. They could either go with Bass, who is Mega Man's rival, because, I mean, rival characters are usually fun playable characters, and especially fun as in general, or Zero, who is a very popular Mega Man character. Many were disappointed of him being an assist trophy in Ultimate, so it's time to redeem Zero to finally being a playable character. After all, he is one of the few characters that is requested that many wanted to play with a sword and all. And next up is Wii Fit. Yeah, it's impossible to really do Wii Fit. I kind of like to joke around and just to add the Wii Fit, like, board, just so we can, you know, like the Wii Fit fitness board, and that's really about it. But yeah, I'd really doubt there's gonna be a new character for this one. After all, we never see Wii Fit trainer fight in the actual game after all. Next up is Glass Joe from Next up is Punch Out. I think it's really obvious. I think it's really simple to have Glass Joe, since Glass Joe, as I like to say, is basically just Little Mac, but way more lighter and weaker. Since in the original games, like, Glass Joe is by far, if not the easiest character to defeat after all. Since I mean, he's called Glass Joe for a reason. Alright, let's skip over from the Mii's, because I think we know why the Mii's exist. But Pac-Man would definitely have Miss Pac-Man. I don't know why Miss Pac-Man isn't a part of, I don't know, one of the Pac-Man's alternate costumes. I've been hearing it has something to do with copyright and all, but I don't really know much about it. So, Miss Pac-Man, yeah, she would either be an alternate costume or an actual playable character. This is like the same situation with Mr. Game & Watch and all. Next is Xenoblade Chronicles. I think it's obvious. I think I find it a bit more interesting that Pyre and Mythra were the characters to be the way to represent Xeno 2, but not Rex himself. So I guess if they're gonna be staying true to what they are, I guess they can have either Nira and Jormarch. I think that's how you pronounce one of the characters' names. If not, then have one of the characters from Shulk's party members, being Dunban, or I don't know, like, I forgot the other character's name. It was like Melia? I cannot recall at all. But I've been hearing so many rumors about Xenoblade Chronicles 3 being announced in the near future that I think it would definitely be a good choice to have the protagonist or any character from Xenoblade Chronicles 3 in the near future. Alright, let's skip over to Duck Hunt, since I think it's really impossible to really give him a character. Next up is Street Fighter. This is an easy one. They could either give M. Bison, one of the main villains in Street Fighter, Chun-Li, who is one of the most famous female video game characters out there, since I am surprised they didn't give Chun-Li a playable appearance, sort of, after all. Or they can go with someone like, I don't know, Blanca or Zangief. I don't care. Street Fighter is really a very popular fighting game, and after all, it's been getting so many collaborations for the past few years, especially them being in Fortnite and Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. I am surprised Street Fighter is getting so much love at this point, despite not getting Street Fighter 6, and Street Fighter 5 is still getting so much support. Not trying to hate on it, I just am surprised how much collaboration it is getting at this point. Next is Final Fantasy. Now, if we're just gonna be sticking to Final Fantasy 7, then Tifa would be Tifa will be another choice, unless they had to censor the character's design and all just to stay with the age rate. And I think the best character design would be Final Fantasy 7 Advent Children Tifa, just so they can censor the design and all. Or if we're not gonna stick with Final Fantasy 7, then there are many characters that could possibly come from different entries. They can go with either Squall from Final Fantasy 8, Noctis from 15, Lightning from Final Fantasy 13, Terra from 16, Zidane from from Final Fantasy 9, or Titus, I don't know how to pronounce that name as well, from Final Fantasy 10. There's a lot of different characters that comes from the Final Fantasy series, so I really think the best one I could think of is either Noctis or Squall. Overall, I am fine with having Final Fantasy 7 characters only, and I don't really mind if they add more of that. Now, I don't know much about the Bayonetta series, so I guess Jean would be a character that would be interesting to play as. She would basically be Bayonetta's Echo Fighter, since, after all, Bayonetta does have Jean's alternate colors as one of her 8 alternate colors, after all. Next up is Splatoon, in which it is simple to give out the Octolings, either as its own playable fighter or an Echo Fighter. The reason why many wanted the Octolings is because that in the first Splatoon game, they didn't really have that much of a role, but given with the Octo expansion pack in Splatoon 2, then they became such a fan favorite, especially with Agent 8. So yeah, the Octolings would definitely be a very, very simple character to add, and since, it's one of Nintendo's best modern franchises they have to date, yeah, I think it's really obvious if they're gonna represent Splatoon more. Now, I don't know much about the Castlevania series, so I guess Alucard would be something. Alucard was supposed to be the character to represent Castlevania when Sakurai considered it, but was passed over for the Belmonts instead. So they could finally repurpose Alucard, so they can just fix that after all. So they can just fix the whole thing. I'm not sure why they can't just make Simon and Alucard a playable character, but hey, you can win them all, I guess. Next is Persona 5, and if we're gonna stick to Persona 5, then I think the characters that would definitely make sense is Anne Takamaki, or Panther as her code name, as I do think the actress for Anne, being Erika, would definitely love to be part of Smash Bros. As a playable fighter, or Makoto Nijima, whose code name is Queen. The reason why I mentioned Makoto is because that with the collaborations with Persona from other games, they mostly choose Joker and Queen instead of just Joker or Panther. I guess it makes sense, but I think it's really obvious that either they're going to go with Anne Takamaki or Makoto. But if we're not going to stick to Persona 5, then I guess Persona 4's Yu, who's the protagonist of the game, or Makoto from Persona 3 would, I guess, make a good choice. I'm not too sure, because I always thought of a Shin Megami Tensei rep being there, since Persona is technically the spin-off of Shin Megami Tensei, but we'll just have to wait and see. Next is Dragon Quest Slime. Sakurai was supposed to make Slime a playable character if Hero was denied. So yeah, put Slime as a playable character. I don't care if it looks dumb in game. I just want to play as a Slime. Next is Banjo-Kazooie. I guess Gruntilda, unless they have the source material to give Gruntilda her own moveset, I would definitely like to see how they make Gruntilda as a playable character. And now we got ourselves Fatal Fury, or King of Fighters, or whatever game Terry is, or whatever game Terry is going to be in. I know Terry represents Fatal Fury, but he's also a part of King of Fighters. I think Ryo Sakazaki would definitely be another character. After all, I guess I don't know much about the series, sadly, but Ryo Sakazaki would definitely be a character that I would really play more than Terry, sadly. Next was ARMS. Now, if they're gonna go for a more simple character, then Springman would be, because I know many wanted to see Springman as a playable character before Ultimate's release. But if not, then ARMS could choose the other most popular character from that game, being Twintail, because not only is Twintail another popular character like Min Min, but she's a very unique character out of all of the ARMS characters, as she uses her hair to fight instead of her actual arms. So yeah, not only do we get another ARMS character, but it's another popular one and a unique one to say and add to this whole thing. Plus, if ARMS is gonna get supported in the near future, then maybe the character from the sequel to ARMS after all. Next is Minecraft. Yeah, I can't think of a single character from Minecraft because I know what you're gonna say, Jesse from Minecraft Story Mode, but I'm not sure if that's really a good idea given how unique Steve is in the game after all. And now we finally get to the final two franchises, starting with Tekken, which I think it's super simple to give Jin, because Heihachi wasn't a playable character since he didn't have the Devil Gene, but Jin does, so yeah, father, son, have Jin being a playable character. After all, I did want him more than Kazuya, but I'm fine with Kazuya being in Smash Brothers, don't worry. I just think if they're gonna make another Smash game and support Tekken more in the future, then yeah, Jin would definitely be somewhat of an echo fighter to Kazuya. And now for Kingdom Hearts. Roxas or Riku? Riku would be a unique character, and Roxas I guess you can say is technically a unique character since he uses 2 Keyblades instead of just 1, or I'm not too sure. Like, Roxas and Riku are the characters that would definitely represent a lot more of Kingdom Hearts, if Disney wants to allow it. So yeah, that's really about it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Which characters do you think deserve... Which characters do you want to give to every single franchise represented in Smash Ultimate? I want to know all your opinions down below. This is a very long video, and my voice is breaking right now, but I just want to know all your opinions down below. And so with that, leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell for more videos, follow my Twitter, and I'll see you guys next time. And remember this, once a legend, always a legend. Like a Hellcat.